Chapter 18. Tolgru and Kayla threw themselves upon Feldo, hugging and patting the brave squirrel.
Ha ha! Good to see your battered old face again, mate. Oi, you're a sight for sore eyes, all right, friend?
Feldo winked at them cheerily. Helped by Tolgru and Kayla, Feldo battered aside 2 logs from the compound wall. It was difficult to keep the joyous slaves silent and orderly. Barkyan and Hilgorse hurried them through, encouraging and advising quietly.
You get through, Mom. I'll pass you the young'un.
We're free, Barkyan. Free as the air.
Not quite. Keep your voice down and hurry, please.
Hilgorse, can I take my bag of shells? They'll make good cups and platters. I've collected them for 3 seasons.
Leave them. We may have to run for it. You'd only be slowed down lugging that lot along.
Feldo and Kayla had taken the 2 logs from the palisade, laying them against the back of the fortress main wall to form an easy way to the top. They lifted and pushed the slaves up to where Tolgru waited with a stout kelp rope. One at a time, she swung them out over the top.
Now I'm going to lower you down. Let go of the rope and jump as soon as you can. There's bedding mattresses down there to break your fall. Hurry now. We need the rope for the others.
In the midst of the bustle, Barkyan found time to grasp his son's paw.
Feldo, I knew you wouldn't let us down. Where's Martin?
The squirrel hugged his father quickly.
That's a story for another day. Come on, let's free these slaves, old bushtail.
For the first time in many a long day, Barkyan grinned happily.
Old bushtail yourself, whippersnapper. I'll wager you don't go over that wall faster than I do.
It was as they were laughing together that Drup shouted,
The slaves are escaping! Help! Come quick! They're escaping!
Battering kicked over the banquet table. Hauling out the sword that had once belonged to Martin, he laid about him with the flat of the blade.
Get to the compound! Quick! I knew something like this would happen. Move on! Stir your stumps, you addle-brained scum! Move!
The tyrant's hordes stumbled over each other, grabbing weapons as they rushed to do their master's command. Badrang dashed about like a mad beast, using the flat of his blade as a rod, smacking heads and paws with numbing force.
Hurry! Run! Or are you deaf or stupid? Move, you mudworms!
Trom and Clog sat on the overturned table, still drinking and eating, a sly smile hovering on his greasy lips.
Oh, dearie me. The little slaves are all running off. Here, Gruzzle, do you reckon it's 'cause they don't like it here?
The tyrant cast a murderous glance at the Corsair's stoat.
This is all your fault, Clog. You and your magic rabbit with his performing friends. They've got something to do with this. I'm certain of it. Well, aren't you going to help?
Clog slopped kelp beer down his whiskers as he drank.
They're your slaves, mate. You see to 'em. I'm only a poor, honest wave beast who's down on his luck.
Quivering with rage, Badrang pointed his sword at the Corsair.
Don't worry, I will. But you look to those magic friends of yours and hold them here until I get back. I'm holding you personally responsible for them.
The tyrant dashed off after his horde. Bala glanced uneasily at Roanoke.
Do you hear that, old gal? Looks like we're in a spot of bother, what? Plan number 2, I'd say, huh?
Brome tugged at Buckler's tunic.
What's plan number 2? 'Tis pretty simple, Meister. When you be in trouble, and the audience don't like it no more, then hussins run for it like Billy-o.
Roanoke began singing softly to the rambling rosehip players.
I think we'll call it a day. Back to the cot, I say. It's exit left without any pay. We'd be better off far away.
The company began sidling unobtrusively towards their cart. Clog staggered upright. Throwing his drink down, he began tugging to free the cutlass from his waist sash.
Ahoy, Tibber! Old Ard there. Where do you think you're off to?
Completely unruffled, Bala made an elegant bow.
Love to stay, old clogger, old stoat, but you know how 'tis. We need our jolly old beauty sleep.
Trollman tipped the wink to Boggs, Crosstooth, and Gruzzle. In a trice, they had the pirate crew surrounding the players. Clog licked the blade of his cutlass and closed one eye.
And all the time I thought you was me mateys. It ain't friendly like running off so soon. How's about you doing one more bit of magic for old Trollman?
Bala gave the stoat a large, toothy grin and a wink.
Why, certainly, me old wave walloper. One more piece of magic, just for you, coming right up away. How'd you like to see me vanish the entire troop, cart and all, presto, just like that? Vanish the old crew of ye? That's what I said, old sport. And the cart, too, and all of this, whilst you're surrounded. That's the ticket, Captain. 'Tis impossible. But you carry on, matey.
Bala collected several hefty pieces of firewood and distributed them to the troop. Meanwhile, Roanoke harnessed herself to the cart shafts. The hair indicated by sweeping dramatic gestures that they all climb up on the cart. When they had, he joined them.
Ladies and gentlebeasts, watch closely. As you see, we are all holding a large magic wand each. That is, with the exception of my good friend, the magic badger there. Now, watch closely, please. As my old Uncle Flobbers used to say, the speed of the paw always deceives the eye, and more often than not, blackens it. Are you ready? 1, 3, 2, 4, whatever! Charge!
The huge female badger threw all her weight and speed against the shafts, sending the cart forward like a runaway boulder on a mountainside. It smashed through the surrounding corsairs, sending them scattering like ninepins as the troop flailed and thwacked away at sea rat heads with their large magic wands. Clog was taken aback momentarily. Then he was up and pursuing the cart as it headed for the open gate of Marshink.
Stop 'em! It's a trick!
Bala caught Gruzzle a hefty blow, sending him ears over tail.
Of course it's a trick, old lad! I told you it was!
Tolgru gave a shout of alarm from the wall-top as she saw the horde pounding towards the compound.
Look out, Feldo! They're coming!
Only half of the slaves were over the wall. Feldo looked around in desperation as Hilgors and Barkyon came running to him. The horde were now pelting around the outside of the compound towards them. Barkyon groaned aloud.
There's too many, and we have no weapons.
Feldo gritted his teeth.
At least half of us got away. Wait, this might hold him off a bit.
Grabbing a chunk of rock, he called up to Tolgru.
Throw that rope down!
Catching the rope, Feldo secured the rock to one end of it and began swinging it as he advanced on the horde. It took out several of them before they hurriedly backed off. The chunk of rock circled and whirred in a deadly blur as Feldo roared.
Come on! Who's next, you stinking bunch of cowards? Come on! Get him, you dolts! Rush him!
Battering howled with rage as he pushed his creatures forward. Grabbing a spear from a weasel called Rotnose, Battering hurled it. Still swinging the rock, Feldo leaped to one side. The spear missed him, but took Barkyon through his shoulder. Immediately, Hilgors pulled the spear from his friend. The hedgehog was powerfully built despite his age. Wielding the spear with a strength born of desperation, he launched himself at the horde of foe beasts, plunging and stabbing wildly. In the narrow space between stockade and wall, they were driven back by the spear and the swinging rock. Hilgors stuck the spear in the ground by Feldo.
Give me the rope, young'un. Take the spear and get your father away from here. He's been wounded. Do as I say, quickly!
Photo grabbed the spear as he felt the rope taken from his paws by Hilgors. Tolgru had climbed halfway down the 2 log steps on the wall, and between them, they hauled the semi-conscious Bakyan upwards. 2 arrows found Hilgors as others clattered and bounced off the walls around Tolgru and Feldo, who had succeeded in gaining the wall top with the limp form of Bakyan held between them. Bravely, Hilgors swung the rock, his strength failing as he shouted at the wall top.
Get away from here, Feldo! Save your father and the others!
Another arrow struck Hilgors, and the rope slipped from his paws. The old hedgehog's eyes were misting over as he gave a final roar and hurled his spiky body into the ranks of the enemy. Photo tried to scramble back down to Hilgors, but Tolgru hung on, pulling him back.
We must escape. He gave his life so we could be free.
Feldo bit his lip until blood showed. He took one last look at the scene below. Badring and his horde were beginning to mount the logs and scale the wall, and the slaves who had not managed to escape were forcing their way back into the compound through the gap they had made. Feldo still had the spear in his paw when he noticed who the last of the slaves was and shouted his name.
Drop!
The treacherous Bankvol did not turn. He knew who was calling him. He tried to squeeze through the gap back into the stockade, but found his way blocked by the slaves inside.
Out of my way, or I'll report you!
Those were the last words that Drup spoke. Feldo threw the spear, harder than he had ever thrown anything. It found its mark between the traitor's shoulder blades. Jump! Holding Bakyan between them, Feldo and Tolgru leaped from the wall top into the night. It was a good drop, but the straw-packed mattresses broke their fall. The others were waiting for them. They looked this way and that, unsure which way would be the best direction to take in the darkness. Suddenly, a nearby rumbling caused them to crouch down in the wall shadows, and a voice rang out.
What ho! Is that the disappearing fox?
Feldo gave a sigh of relief. Bala, I see you managed to escape safely.
Rather, though at the moment, there's a posse of pirates hot on our paws. I say, have you got any ladies and young'uns there?
Aye, and a wounded father, and any moment now, Badrang will be coming over that wall with his horde.
Calls for a bit of quick thinking, what? Righto! Get the babes, mothers, and wounded into the cart. Every beast fit to run, get pushing, but wait until I give the word. Wait for it!
The sound of Clog's crew rounding the outside of the back wall blended with the shouts of Badrang and his horde, who had now reached the wall top. Bala kicked the last of the straw mattresses away into the night and joined his friends at the cart.
Head south smartly now! Look alive, you chaps! Go!
The wheels of the small wagon nearly left the ground as it shot forward, propelled by every able-bodied creature. In moments, it had clattered off into the darkness. Badrang pushed Hisk and Gerard off the wall top. Grabbing others, he began shoving them off into space.
Jump, you lily-livered toads! The slaves did it easily enough. Come on, you there, Nipwit, Fleabane, jump!
Bodies went flying from the wall top. Horde soldiers shut their eyes and leaped, preferring the drop to Badrang's towering anger. The removal of the cushioning straw sacks made the landing hard for those who did not land on the heads of Captain Trommenclog and several of his crew members. Bala had judged his timing right. Confusion reigned in the darkness as the Corsair crew and the Tyrant's horde fought each other tooth and claw in the night.